Hey, welcome back to Tool Talk. There's only a couple of mods you can really do other than a lift kit to open up your wheel wells without losing that factory OEM look. You could go with an aftermarket fender, or you can go with actually the Rubicon fender flares if you don't have them already. Since I'm running a sport, I went ahead and did something that's a little more subtle, but still gives me plenty of more room for 37s currently, and then in the future, if I decide to go bigger than that, then I'll have that option. The OEM quality and look and fitment is hard to beat, so I chose to actually go with a fender flare that's affordable and still gives that overall look that it came from the factory that way. So this is a sport that is getting Rubicon fender flares. There are a few things that you'll need if you want to do these fender flares. It's going to be an 8mm, a 10mm, both a ratchet or a socket, a panel tool, a rivet tool, and a pair of needle nose pliers. This is going to be a very 1 out of 5 scale basic modification for your truck. So let's get to it. I'm going to try to take this one off so I can probably reuse some of these. If you push and squeeze from the back, you can kind of work yourself around breaking them. You can have a couple extra on hand in case you want to use them for something else. So I'm just trying to kind of grab those out of there without completely snapping them. So I'm just using a little hot soapy water on a paper towel just to wipe this area down. And my truck's pretty clean, but I don't want to leave anything back here that will allow any scratching residue while I'm already in here. The truck's only got 1,000 miles on it, so that's why it's so clean. We'll have to take it out and get some mud on it eventually. All right, the other side is 6 7/8, and that puts us about right here, so you can see how much room we've gained. About 1.25 inches is what we got overall out of the new fender. All right, for this side is a couple extra steps. You're going to hit 2 10mm socket with a 10mm socket. You're going to hit 2 10mm bolts. You're going to bring those out here and here. A couple plastic tabs. You're going to pull it off. There'll be a connector in there, and we'll have to be careful of that connector for the light. But it's a pretty simple, straightforward install. So let's get to it. Five. There are 5 of these bolts. And a plastic tab on this side. So you'll pull that tab out and then push right here. So much like the reverse installation of the, we're just going to reverse what we just did. So we're going to throw this thing back on. Don't forget to hook up your new connector. And this is also something I think I've read a lot about, but didn't fully get a good grasp on. That this connector is actually, everything is there. All the wires are there for even the Sport model. So this is a Sport S. And everything is ready to go for my LED lighting. I just have to change it in the programmer. All right, inside here, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. You'll probably have to remove this one when you put the liner in. I'll have to pop that back out. And 5 is right here. All right, so the passenger side's 5 1/4 inches from the top of the tire. We are now at 8 1/2. So we went from here 5 1/4 to 8 1/2. So we gained a 1, 2 1/2, 2 3/4 inches of lift. So that's 2 3/4, not just 2 inches. And it makes these wheel wells look huge. I could get a 40 in here if I needed to. This is a 37. All right, like I said, this has some heat shielding on it. A couple of those bolts we're gonna probably have to remove to allow 1, 2, and 3 to get those holes held by the bolts. So those 3 will come back out. They do give you a whole bag of retaining hardware, or plasticware, I guess you call it. I also want to show people who are not familiar with the 2 sides. This one has a cutout for your hood latch. So your fender's another 1 3/4 or 2 3/4 inches taller. And then up here you can see this dip that's right here. It's not flat anymore. It used to be just flat against the fender, but this fender's now level with the hood. Before it was down 2 inches, which gives the Sport a little bit better street appearance because the wheel wells are not so open. But if you have 37s, you want as much wheel well in there as possible to give you appearance of more lift. And then over here you can see the stock one. There's no crevice to put your finger down in. It's not level with the hood, and there's no dip in the fender for the hood latch. All right, so if you've done anything in your truck at increase the tire size, if you've done LED lights, if you've done anything to your truck that requires any kind of ECM modification, your body control module BCM, engine control module is ECM, you have to download, or you're going to want something called the Tazer. And what I've done is I've downloaded their app onto my laptop. I've got it plugged in here with their USB cable that's included. And I'm going to go to, once you got the app down, first thing you want to do is update it. So we're going to check for a firmware update. It says that it has, let's see, check updates. So it's connecting to Z Automotive server. Okay, we're connected to the server. I have 11.2 and now there's 11.2.1 available. So I'm going to install the firmware. And I did this also when I first bought it. This is the second time that I've come and brought it in the house. Just make sure that everything is up to date. In the last 4 or 5 months I've had the truck. And we're just installing some updates. So this will take just a moment. Alright, it looks like it has uploaded the updates. Let me check for updates one more time. And then it should tell me your Tazer JL is already at its latest version. So that has been done. And now we'll move on to the next step. Alright, so I had the Z Automotive removed for the update, and just going to put it back in. I wanted to show you guys that you can do an update on this with a laptop or a home computer. Stick that in there. Alright. Let that get settled in. Then we'll have to remarry it. Alright, I have the key in the truck. We're gonna go ahead and go to run. That noise was my air lockers, front and rear pump coming on. Okay, so I'm getting a right front signal out. So we got to fix that. Should be both sides. They're both plugged in, but we are going to go to the radio. So I have the truck set up, and we're going to go to the settings. So I'm going to go here, I'm going to press this button and this button. That takes me to light show. I'm going to press it 3 more times to get me to marry, and then I'm going to click marry. So to click marry, you push this button, and then you're setting your cruise control button. But you're going to press the left one first. It'll start saying marrying. Now I'm marrying the unit to the car, to the Jeep, excuse me. Marrying the unit to the Jeep. It is now married, and if I look down real quick, got kind of a blinking light down there. That's this light right here. All right, so now we're married. Now we got to go on to the next selection. So we're going to hold this button again, and then we're going to hit this button until we get to where we need to be. I pressed it a few more times. I'm now at lighting. Now have it set to daytime running light type. I'm going to press this button and up, and I'm going to select daytime running lights. I'm going to select daytime running lights type USA. Now by selecting this button, and then the next button would be cancel, I now have DRL location All right, so we're going to set the DRL to turn signal. I'm going to scroll on down to see a LED front turn signal. It's going to say no. I'm going to turn it to yes. And now we'll have our turn signal as well. Scroll on down to the next menu, and now you'll have full reboot, and we're going to do a full reboot. So I'm going to select that. It's going to give me a countdown. You'll let that run through the full reboot. It'll turn the screen off and on a couple of times. It'll reconnect, and then we will get out of the menu and go back into the normal radio menu. All right, guys, that's it with the install of the fenders and the LED lights with the Tazer. I got the gap down. I know it's kind of late here, but I got the gap now at 2 3/4 inches greater than what the sport fenders were. I know the Rubicon guys already get this feature, but if you want to take your sport to the next level, follow my videos. You know, I put ARB lockers in it, got heavy duty spline shafts in there. You know, you take a sport and you can take it way beyond any OEM Rubicon package or anything like that. It's not the bust on Rubicon, but you can take a sport way past what the OEM offers. So with the Rubicon flares, I'm now getting about 4 or 5 inches of effective lift. I'll show you some pictures of that. If you guys like this content and you like to modify your trucks, click like and subscribe, and I'll get you another video. Thanks, guys.